It's been a rough few weeks for Elon Musk, with Tesla stock prices plummeting and dealerships being vandalized.
President Trump is vowing to buy a Tesla after the company's stock plunged. Critics blame CEO Elon Musk's focus on his White House role.
Tesla, the electric titan once cruising confidently toward a cleaner future, is now hitting unexpected speed bumps. And they're not coming from competitors. A fresh wave of trade tariffs, reimposed under Donald Trump's administration, is sending shockwaves through Tesla's global operations. At first glance, it's just policy. But behind the curtain lies a high-voltage mix of political entanglements, global backlash, and rising costs that threaten more than just profits. Why is one of America's most iconic companies suddenly at the center of an international firestorm? Stay with us as we delve into the tangled web of tariffs, politics, and global fallout shaking Tesla's future. Tesla warns of tariff backlash. Tesla has raised alarms about the potential impact of Donald Trump's trade tariffs, warning that US exporters like itself could face serious consequences if other countries retaliate. In an unsigned letter to the US trade representative, the company emphasized that although it supports fair trade, it believes American exporters are at risk of being disproportionately affected by retaliatory tariffs. The letter coincided with a White House event where Trump, showing public support for Tesla, declared his intention to buy one of the electric cars. Despite Musk's close ties to Trump and his leadership role in the Department of Government Efficiency, it remains unclear if he personally approved the message sent by Tesla. The timing of the letter is significant as Tesla continues to face mounting pressure. Its stock has dropped 40% since the beginning of the year, a decline market analysts attribute more to concerns over sales performance and production targets than to political affiliations. Some critics, however, suggest that Elon Musk's alignment with the Trump administration may be damaging the brand's image. In response to trade uncertainty, Tesla has stated it is attempting to localize its supply chains and reduce dependence on foreign-made components, although some parts remain difficult or impossible to source domestically. The international backlash against tariffs on the United States is already in the making, being spearheaded by China. It has quickly retaliated with its own tariffs, including those on electric vehicles, striking at Tesla's second-largest market after the US. In letters, Tesla states that similar trade actions in past experiences were responded to rapidly by the affected states, putting higher prices on American-made EVs abroad. The EU and Canada have also joined their voice in opposition to the new US tariffs on steel and aluminum, threatening to issue counter-imposed, sweeping trade measures, thus complicating the environment and further threatening American exporters. Protesters against Musk, accompanied by boycotts of Tesla showrooms, have staged protests against Musk's involvement in government cost-cutting programs. On the same day, at the White House event, Trump attacked the car manufacturer profusely and termed the protesters as domestic terrorists, saying that they'll go through hell if they use violence. Behind the wheel of a shining red Tesla, he called on Americans to see the company as a symbol of threatened American innovation. He also made a show of support amidst increasing tensions concerning Tesla's involvement with politics and the larger economic implications of his tariff policies. And just when Tesla thought it could weather the political storm, a new kind of pressure started hitting much closer to the assembly line. Higher costs on imported parts. Even though Tesla is an all-American brand cranking out electric cars right here in the US, the reality is their vehicles are built using parts from all over the globe. It's like building a custom home. Sure, the frame might be local, but the marble's from Italy, the fixtures are from Germany, and the tech probably from somewhere in Asia. Tesla especially leans on imports for key electronic components, battery parts, and raw materials like aluminum and steel. That global supply chain is a finely tuned machine, until someone throws a tariff wrench in the gears. When the Trump administration slapped tariffs on a wide range of Chinese imports, Tesla's cost structure took a direct hit. Components that were once relatively affordable were suddenly 10% 25%, and even 30% more expensive. Everything from touchscreen displays to intricate wiring systems and battery cells saw price jumps. Imagine trying to finish a luxury kitchen remodel and finding out your smart appliances now cost as much as the entire house did in 2002. That's the kind of financial gut punch Tesla was dealing with. The tariffs on aluminum and steel worsened the situation. These materials form the backbone of Tesla's vehicle bodies and chassis. The idea was to keep US manufacturers safe, but it turned into a ripple effect where domestic suppliers also hiked their prices. So even if Tesla was buying more from America, it didn't really result in savings for them. It's like with that big change of policy in HOA, every contractor in town decides to increase their price on that. In the end, it was either to cover the stock cost and suffer loss margins, or forward it into consumers' pockets, hence risking a reduction in sales. It was not a choice of either when you are in a hyper-competitive market. These types of headaches, tariff-related, depict the risk involved in sourcing international parts, even for domestically produced products. For a manufacturer aiming to make electric mobility products more affordable and mainstream, it amounted to trying to sell a mid-century modern with a leaky roof. Everything else might be premium, but it puts the whole deal at risk. Tariffs on Chinese batteries. Tesla's reliance on Chinese battery technology, particularly through its partnership with contemporary Amperex Technology Co. Limited (CATL), has been pivotal in advancing its electric vehicle EV production. CATL, recognized as the world's largest battery manufacturer, supplies Tesla with lithium iron phosphate (LFP) batteries, which are integral to Tesla's operations, especially at its Shanghai gigafactory. This collaboration has enabled Tesla to enhance its manufacturing efficiency and cost-effectiveness in the competitive EV market. However, recent geopolitical developments have introduced significant challenges. In January 2025, the US Department of Defense added CATL to a list of companies purportedly linked to China's military, a designation that, while not imposing immediate restrictions, casts a shadow over CATL's reputation and its business dealings with US entities. This move signals potential future sanctions and heightened scrutiny, complicating Tesla's procurement strategies. Compounding all these things is the increase in tariffs on several different imports from China by the Biden administration. The lithium-ion EV batteries now bear tariffs of 25%, up from 7.5%. The surcharges apply directly to the cost structure of a company like Tesla and compel Tesla to make a choice whether to bear the additional costs and try to stomach a slimmer profit margin or to pass it on to customers, possibly reducing demand, mostly in a price-sensitive environment. In this situation, Tesla explorations have been underway to try and mitigate the degree of such financial impact. One approach sits within licensing the technology from CATL to produce batteries aimed specifically at the domestic market in the United States. Doing so bypasses the hefty tariffs incurred from importing batteries from China. Though promising, the strategy requires a great deal of investment and time to establish local production capabilities, during which Tesla is exposed to immediate financial impacts created by the current tariff situation. In addition, increased political friction regarding Chinese tech suppliers such as CATL has exposed Tesla to long-term strategic uncertainty. In the case where future sanctions or legislation create further limitations on joint activity with Chinese companies, Tesla will have to undertake a fast-track diversification of its supply chain, a complicated and expensive endeavor. The company has already begun establishing new investments in alternative sources and localizing production. However, moving away from a partner as powerful and efficient as CATL is no easy thing. The risk is clear. Any disruption in terms of battery supply may call for slower production timelines, which is a critical metric both for investors and customers alike. International backlash and boycotts. In early 2025, Tesla became one of the highest-profile casualties of mounting international frustration with the United States trade policies under the renewed Trump administration. The reimposition of steep tariffs on imports and aggressive economic nationalism triggered significant backlash abroad, particularly in countries where Tesla had previously seen strong sales performance. This political shift coincided with growing global unease over Elon Musk's perceived alignment with Donald Trump, further fueling tensions in key international markets. The most immediate impact was felt across Europe. According to sales data, Tesla's vehicle deliveries in January 2025 dropped 63% in France and 59.5% in Germany compared to the previous year. Analysts have directly tied this plunge to a combination of consumer boycotts and rising skepticism toward US-based companies perceived as benefiting from or supporting the Trump administration. European consumers, particularly in environmentally conscious and politically active markets, appear to be sending a clear message with their wallets, rejecting Tesla not for its products, but for its political associations. In Canada, the response has been similarly sharp. Media reports and interviews document a growing grassroots movement to boycott American goods, including Tesla's, in protest of what critics see as unfair trade practices and political overreach. The anger and disappointment among Canadian consumers, who are often finely attuned to US politics, arose from policies that strained cross-border economic relations. Tesla, which already has challenges in expanding its footprint in Canada, is now faced with damage to its brand reputation that could stymie long-term growth in the region. All this points to the growing consumer activism endangering other risk factors for globally operating companies that find themselves intertwined in domestic political narratives. While Tesla still leads in electric vehicle innovation, its international reputation suffers because of associations overseas buyers find unpalatable. The company's future global success may hinge on its distancing from partisan politics in the minds of international customers who expect to see the same neutrality from others in the highly polarized environment. Tesla's Shanghai dilemma. Tesla's Gigafactory Shanghai, opened in 2019, has become a critical part of the company's global manufacturing strategy. It's Tesla's largest production facility by volume and serves as the main export hub for Model 3 and Model Y vehicles headed to Europe, parts of Asia, and even Canada. With its lower labor costs and streamlined logistics, the Shanghai plant has enabled Tesla to meet global demand more efficiently while protecting profit margins. However, this model relies heavily on a stable trade equilibrium between China and the rest of the world. If the Chinese-US relationship sours under any future administration, imposing extra tariffs or restrictions with, of course, another Trump presidency being an especially likely scenario, Chinese retaliation would follow. That retaliation could entail an export control regime, layers of regulatory red tape, or indirect pressures that would hamper or even incapacitate Tesla's ability to ship vehicles from Shanghai to overseas markets. The Chinese state has already offered incentives and subsidies to embolden its local EV industry. In a more protectionist scenario, additional disadvantages to Tesla may stem from limiting access to state-backed financing or exclusion from certain local government purchase programs, further harming its competitiveness on Chinese turf. If Tesla had to face a curtailed or more expensive export channel from Shanghai, it would increasingly have to lean on its other factories in Germany, Gigafactory Berlin, and the USA. However, these sites do not produce yet at scale and efficiency levels matching Shanghai, and to expedite such an increase of output would take time and substantial capital or cause potential supply bottlenecks and delivery delays in important markets such as Europe. Benignly put, any disruptions against the Shanghai export model could further jeopardize one of Tesla's most important cost blessings. More ominously, it could usher in a wider re-evaluation of global supply chains for the EV sector everywhere, but especially for Tesla. An export squeeze from China, particularly before any price reductions, would also mess with Tesla's plans for international expansion, just as competition is intensifying and price wars are breaking out in the EV space. The fading technological edge. Tesla's once untouchable technological edge is rapidly fading as competitors catch up in key areas like battery efficiency and self-driving technology. Tesla was once the undisputed leader in battery technology, boasting impressive range and charging speeds. However, over time, other companies like BYD and CATL have developed cheaper, more efficient batteries that rival Tesla's own offerings. These new batteries, particularly those used by BYD's vehicles, deliver similar performance at lower costs, which challenges Tesla's long-held advantage. As competitors continue to innovate, Tesla's battery technology is no longer the gold standard it once was, leaving the company at risk of falling behind in the rapidly evolving EV market. Another area where Tesla's technological lead is shrinking is in self-driving technology. Tesla's full self-driving FSD system was once touted as the future of autonomous driving, with Elon Musk promising that it would eventually eliminate the need for human drivers. However, years after its initial launch, the FSD system is still incomplete, plagued by glitches and legal hurdles. Issues like phantom braking, erratic lane changes, and safety concerns have created significant roadblocks in the development of full autonomy. Meanwhile, competitors like Waymo and Cruise have deployed fully autonomous vehicles in real-world conditions, leaving Tesla's FSD system struggling to keep pace. As these companies continue to advance in autonomous driving, Tesla's reputation for cutting-edge technology in this area is increasingly under threat. Other automakers are now developing so-called superior driver assist systems, which can compete with Tesla's full self-driving FSD system in terms of performance and safety. For instance, Ford and General Motors are installing updated driver assist enhancements that operate more reliably and have already sufficiently addressed pertinent regulations. Each model introduced in the market makes these systems better and provides alternatives to Tesla's FSD. Consumers have some safer driver options. All this competition builds in driver assist technology together to raise the gradations for Tesla in this critical area of EV development. Advanced EV features from other automakers, such as nothing in resemblance to any of Tesla's technological dominance, have also been responsible for the gravitational pull on the technological influencing effect of Tesla over time. Once, over-the-air software updates and vehicle integration rarely received mention beyond that of the nightclub, but that is an obsolete picture now. Many former titans also came to adopt online software upgrades and live AI-based vehicle monitoring, an impression of what Tesla's software once brought to the innovations. That even BYD in China is nurturing its self-sufficient, cutting-edge in-car software. The other automotive manufacturers rapidly innovate and inject new features. Hence, the improvement or head start seems to be diminishing with time, leaving Tesla to scramble to keep pace with an evidently increasing speed of progress within the industry. As Tesla's technological edge fades, there's another force quietly pulling the company off course, and it's coming straight from the very top. Elon Musk's distraction. Elon Musk's recent focus on Twitter has significantly impacted his ability to effectively lead Tesla, raising concerns among investors, employees, and consumers alike. Musk's acquisition of Twitter for a staggering $44 billion took his attention away from his core responsibilities at Tesla, a company that once relied heavily on his leadership and vision. As Tesla faced rising competition, production delays, and supply chain issues, Musk was busy restructuring Twitter and engaging in controversial decisions that distracted him from addressing Tesla's most urgent challenges. This shift in focus has led to a loss of confidence in Musk's ability to steer Tesla through a highly competitive and evolving market. The consequences of Musk's divided attention have been particularly evident in the way investors and consumers have reacted. Investors, once loyal to Musk's ambitious vision for Tesla, have started to lose faith in his leadership. Tesla's stock price plummeted as analysts questioned Musk's ability to manage both companies effectively. Many were concerned that his decision to spread himself too thin between Tesla, Twitter, and other ventures would dilute his effectiveness in driving Tesla's future success. Consumers, who once viewed Musk as a forward-thinking innovator, now see him as distracted and unpredictable, which has contributed to growing skepticism about Tesla's long-term prospects. His political uprising and crazy behavior have put Tesla's reputation down in sheer tatters. What used to be regarded as a fresh, futuristic company soon became associated with Musk's controversial remarks in actions, spoiling it further. In short, Musk's battles over politics, which in large part have been made loud through Twitter, seemed to have severed ties from a section of Tesla's customers, a large majority of whom shared admiration for the clean green technology of the company. Over time, the behavior of Musk was observed to be erratic, and Tesla soon began to be seen as less visionary, but rather became just another brand straddling the whims of an unpredictable leader. This change of view diminished the image of the company and turned potential customers and investors wary of increasingly branding themselves with a figure bugged by personality controversies of Musk. Internally, Musk's distraction has also led to an unhappy atmosphere amongst Tesla employees who contend that clear direction and leadership are lacking. In the face of all of these great problems, such as delayed production, price instability, and a shortage of supplies, Musk's attention shifted to Twitter. What left employees feeling neglected was Musk's focus on a project that appeared to have no bearing on everything Tesla found extremely necessary. The increasingly destabilizing force of attention divided between the two competing agency claims and that which produces sorrows of modern corporation culture did not enhance Tesla's ability to chalk solutions to its problems promptly, but rather made the poorly rated standing in the industry worse. In fact, if anything, Musk focused on Twitter, which kept him quite personally busy, but it acted as a liability for Tesla at a time when the company really needed clear and dedicated leadership. The geopolitical landscape. China's dominance in EV production and battery manufacturing is a major challenge for Tesla, which has relied on its technological leadership to stay ahead in the global market. China controls over 70% of the world's battery production, giving Chinese automakers like BYD, NEO, and XPeng a significant advantage over Tesla. These companies can produce electric vehicles at a much faster and cheaper rate due to their control over key battery components, allowing them to maintain lower prices while still delivering high-quality vehicles. Tesla, on the other hand, is dependent on third-party battery suppliers like Panasonic and CATL, which increases its production costs and puts it at a disadvantage when competing with Chinese automakers. This reliance on external suppliers limits Tesla's ability to innovate and scale as quickly as its competitors. Policymaking and policies represent a sector-level determinant of the evolution of the global EV market, whereby China has deftly exploited the granting of policies to bolster its emergence on the scene. Perhaps best known for the incentives for the adoption of EVs and encouraging policies, the Chinese government has further made life easier for local manufacturers to ramp up production. This governmental support has allowed Chinese firms to produce inexpensive electric vehicles and expand quickly at home and abroad. While the early stages of adoption were fairly beneficial for Tesla in China, it has been meeting increasing constraints regarding regulations and policies in its major markets of the United States and Europe. While the Chinese government has taken a position of favor against EV growth at all levels, for Tesla this has been anything but simple and clearly contrasting, as it has been thrust into the situation of having to grapple with erratic regulations and policies. Competition is now rife, and tensions are rising among China, Europe, and the United States in the war for EV superiority. Rightly so, China, with an unbeatable manufacturing infrastructure and industry support, is in front regarding battery production and cheap EV manufacturing. Now, in Europe, VW, BMW and Mercedes-Benz are catching up with some huge investments into EV technology and infrastructure. The European Union imposed strong emissions requirements and incentives for EVs, pushing the legacy brands into faster adoption of EVs. Meanwhile, in the US, Tesla is joined by legacy automakers Ford and GM, who are setting up their own EV manufacturing to counter competition with Tesla on its home turf. While countries worldwide seek to tighten environmental standards and drive electrification, Tesla is caught in a brutal global race that it no more leads by a mile. With China being the most influential player in battery production, government support further strengthens the position of its manufacturers on the ground. This makes the geostrategic position of Tesla somewhat uncomfortable. The once mighty ruler of the roost, Tesla, now finds itself in a multi-front war against both legacy and greenfield competitors from China and Europe. Tesla's supply chain is these days pretty much single source. Therein lies the risk of having a heavy dependency on China for critical materials and components in its supply chain. With further geopolitical tensions, the company must act aggressively to mitigate these risks so as to remain competitive in an environment that is gaining complexity and volatility. A strong political foothold will determine whether Tesla keeps its crown or is squeezed out of the ranks in the fast-moving and cutthroat EV market. Tesla's business model crisis. Tesla is facing a critical business model crisis as the company struggles to maintain its leadership in the increasingly competitive EV market. One of the biggest issues Tesla faces is its failure to innovate its vehicle lineup. The company has relied on a limited number of models: the Model 3, Model Y, Model S, and Model X, for several years without introducing significant updates or new designs. Competitors, on the other hand, have been rapidly releasing fresh models with better features, improved build quality, and more variety to cater to different market segments. To stay relevant, Tesla must expand its vehicle lineup and introduce new designs, including the much-anticipated Cybertruck and Roadster. Without innovation in its core offerings, Tesla risks losing its appeal to customers who are now being drawn to more diverse and advanced alternatives. A significant bottleneck for the business model of Tesla is its production and supply chain strategy, which is completely centralized. Initially, Tesla's approach to vertical integration, whereby it supports the in-house production of most of its requirements, was viewed as its cutting-edge strength. The new market situation, however, seems to limit opportunities. Where suppliers have to wither other competitors, Tesla's reliance on few gigafactories for larger production leaves it much more vulnerable. One factory holds up all if there are any delays or hitches. The company doesn't also rapidly scale production to meet demand, as there are shortages in raw materials and the semiconductor supply continues to worsen. As such, rigid supply chain models leave Tesla with a dismaying deficit in terms of the ever-increasing demand, as opposed to competition that has flexible and diversified modes of production. The rethinking of its business model will be a prerequisite for Tesla to attain the long-term benefits of survival and regain its competitiveness. The case would be changing the production strategies from centralized to more decentralized. The more extensive the manufacturing footprint is, through some additional factories built around the world, the better situated Tesla is to reduce the risk exposure connected with the supply chain and increase production scaling efficiencies. The company could also make wider use of outside suppliers to gain flexibility and better cost management. It would also be a significant factor in the diversification of Tesla's supply chain that would lessen the company's dependence on certain countries or suppliers in its supply chain, which remains a weakness so far vis-à-vis any geopolitical risks or material shortages. The resurgence of legacy automakers. The resurgence of legacy automakers has become a major challenge for Tesla, as traditional companies like Volkswagen, Ford, and Hyundai ramp up their efforts to compete in the EV space. These automakers, once seen as slow to adapt to the electric vehicle revolution, are now aggressively entering the market with cutting-edge EV models that directly compete with Tesla's offerings. Volkswagen's ID series, Ford's Mustang Mach-E, and Hyundai's Ioniq line have gained significant traction, offering affordable alternatives to Tesla's premium-priced models. These companies have leveraged their global manufacturing networks and existing customer bases to push forward their electric ambitions, making it more difficult for Tesla to maintain its dominance. Legacy automakers are investing heavily in EV technology to catch up with Tesla's early lead. Volkswagen, for example, has committed billions of dollars to the development of its dedicated EV platform, which allows for faster production and lower costs. Ford has followed suit with its F-150 Lightning and Mustang Mach-E, proving that legacy brands can build vehicles that perform as well as, if not better than, Tesla's offerings. Meanwhile, Hyundai and Kia are making substantial investments in their EV lines, with the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and Kia EV6 receiving praise for their design, range, and advanced features. These automakers are increasingly closing the technology gap between themselves and Tesla, making the competition fiercer than ever. There are legacy automakers that have applied their experience and know-how in manufacturing and global distribution to soon beat Tesla in critical areas. While Tesla has had difficulty because of production bottlenecks and delays, companies like Ford and Volkswagen are quickly ramping up their capabilities for EV production by having years of manufacturing experience at their disposal, which allows them to scale faster and more efficiently over others. Ford's existing presence in North America, for example, gives it a huge advantage in local incentives and meeting overall demand for electric trucks like the F-150 Lightning. These companies are leveraging their manufacturing expertise, established supply chains, and brand recognition to not only challenge Tesla, but to reshape the EV market in their favor. As legacy automakers continue to accelerate their efforts, Tesla must find new ways to adapt and compete if it wants to stay the industry leader. As legacy automakers quickly close the gap, a new wave of innovative startups is entering the fray, and they're bringing fresh ideas that could completely disrupt Tesla's hold on the market. The new wave of EV startups. The rise of EV startups like Rivian, Lucid, and Fisker is reshaping the electric vehicle market and posing a significant threat to Tesla's once untouchable position. These companies are not just following Tesla's lead. They are introducing innovative designs and business models that are quickly capturing consumer attention. Rivian, for example, has carved out a niche in the electric truck market with its R1T and R1S models, which have been praised for their off-road capabilities and adventure-focused design. This has allowed Rivian to tap into a market that Tesla has yet to fully dominate, particularly in the electric truck segment, which is becoming increasingly popular with consumers seeking rugged, utility-focused vehicles. Lucid Motors has also emerged as a formidable competitor by focusing on the luxury EV market. The company's flagship model, the Lucid Air, has been hailed as one of the most advanced electric sedans in terms of range, performance, and technology. By positioning itself as a direct competitor to Tesla's Model S, Lucid is able to attract high-end buyers looking for a premium EV experience. Lucid's ability to offer next-generation battery efficiency and luxurious features has elevated it as a serious contender in the luxury electric vehicle space, further encroaching on the market that Tesla has dominated for years. On the other hand, Fisker gave it a different dimension by executing sustainable designs and using sustainable materials. A perfect example of this is the Fisker Ocean, as it has solar panels on its roof and eco-friendly interiors, along with a first-of-its-kind subscription ownership model. Such design and production uniqueness makes Fisker different from Tesla, which has not explored these possible eco-considerate features in its car. Thus, such a distinct outlook on green manufacturing and vehicle ownership by Fisker may appeal to such conscious consumers, creating more needs that Tesla has not yet fully captured. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. Let us know what you think about Tesla's future in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts, and make sure to hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Check out the next video on the screen for more in-depth insights on the EV revolution. Thanks for watching.